see the topic the science of biology. What is biology? So, it is the branch of science which deals with the study of life. So, what is your definition of life then? If I ask this question to you, many of you have their own definition of life. Some may say life is water, some may say life is growth, some may say life is reproduction, life is power, life is love, like this. Everyone has their own definition of life. So, then what is the exact definition of life? So, dear friends, there is no clear cut definition of life. Some biologists may use different terms and still they are discussing on this phenomenon. What is the exact definition? So these are the few characteristics and properties of life. For example, movement. We know that the living organisms, whether it may be plant or animal, they have the plants. They do not move from one place to another, but movement is one of the property of the life. Then another one characteristic, the respiration. So we know that during inhalation and exhalation, we used to take oxygen and giving out oxygen. So that is respiration is also important characteristic of life. What is the next characteristic? That is sensitivity. Sensitivity to the environment, that is also important phenomenon and it is the property of life. Another one is the homeostasis. Whatever maybe the change in the environment is there, our body is able to maintain a constant temperature. So that homeostasis is also very important uh, part of life. Then reproduction, we know that the sexual reproduction is there while asexual reproduction is there. For sexual reproduction there is requirement of two parents, and for the asexual reproduction there is requirement of one parent. So reproduction which gives rise to the new generation, it is also very important property of life. Another one is the excretion. Excretion means whatever the nitrogenous waste product because of the digestion or metabolic activity, that is very important to excrete out of the body. And that excretion is also important phenomenon of the uh, life. Then nutrition, the digestion, the metabolism, anabolism, and the digestion, what we are eating, how it get digested. So that is also very important characteristic of life. Then growth means cell division, formation of cell, then formation of DNA in the replication of it, then its dividation, its growth, formation of proteins inside that. So complete cell cycle by means of which then later on the growth of any cell takes place. So that is also very important characteristic of life. So you can see all these are the characteristics or the properties of life. So there are few characteristics which we can also found in the non-living things, but we can't say that there is life in them. For example, in case of a car move from one place to another, but we can't say that it is there is life in it. So it may be possible that non-living things have few characteristic of this, but it doesn't mean that they are alive. Then we'll see the levels of organization in the biological world. So this is very important characteristic that the living things, they have the levels of organization. Now what are the levels of organization? So generally non-living components have atom or the molecules, but later on in the living components you can see that they have the cell. Okay, they are made up of cell. The cell consists of, you know that uh, if I ask you what the cell consists of, so cell consists of a membrane, okay, plasma membrane. It has having its nucleus, it has having its cell organelles like mitochondria, Golgi complex, endoplasmic reticulum, and lysosomes and all that. Okay, so this cell is having its own structure. So uh, it comes under the living components, and we know that the unicellular organisms are there which made up of single cells, and they are able to maintain their complete activity within one cell itself. Okay, so cell is very important. Then we know that group of cells, they form the tissue. We know that group of tissue forms the organ, group of organ form the organ system, group of organ system form the organism, group of organism form population, group of population forms the community which forms the ecosystem, and then group of ecosystem forms the biosphere. So in this way, lower level of organization go towards the higher level of organization. And why we are studying this like this, because we know that evolution takes place in this manner only. Okay, so this is the levels of organization in the biological world, and we found this in the living components. Okay, now you will ask why we are studying this in the forensic science. So dear friends, when we talk about this cell, so a cell means at the crime scene, suppose you get the blood. Okay, so in that blood you may find the cells like WBC. Okay, WBCs, then RBC. Okay, so with the help of RBC you can get the blood grouping, you can able to found the blood group of the person. Okay, in case of WBC you can extract the DNA from it, right? You can extract DNA from it. In fact, because we know that so WBC has the nucleus, and you can extract DNA from, you can get the DNA from it for the individualization or the DNA fingerprinting. Another one important thing is that from the WBC, you know the neutrophil. So neutrophil, it has having the multi-lobe nucleus. So in that multi-lobe nucleus you will get a bar body. Okay, with the help of that bar body you can able to find what is the sex of that individual. What is, whatever the blood sample if you get, you can able to find out what is the sex of that individual. Suppose you got the saliva, अगर आपको saliva मिलता है तो saliva से आप क्या कर सकते हो, you can you will get the buccal epithelial cell, and in buccal epithelial cell if you make a slide of it, you can get the buccal epithelial cell. Inside it there is a nucleus, and inside the nucleus, suppose you stained it with the methylene blue or the Giemsa stain, you can get a bar body attached to the periphery of the nuclear membrane. Okay, so this is the bar body. You can get it attached to the nuclear membrane. So with the help of this also you can come to know whether the person is what is the sex of the person, whether it is male or female, because we know that bar body you will get only in the female and not in the male. Okay, so we know that in case of female there is a XX sex chromosome, and in male there is XY chromosome. So out of this, one X chromosome is inactive. Okay, means it methylated. Not active means it not expressed, there is no production of any protein from it, and that's inactive X chromosome we can see in the form of a dumbbell shaped structure, that is bar body, which is firstly observed by the Moody bar in the female cat. And this bar body helps us to identify the sex of the individual, because we found it only in the female. So that is the important characteristics we will get in the blood of neutrophil and in the buccal epithelial cell. Okay, so that's why we are studying here the levels of organization. So then tissue, you can come across the blood, so that is the tissue. You can come across the organ. If there is poison case, you can get the tissue sample or the organ few part. Okay, so in which you have to then digest and find out the poisoning cases. Okay, so in this way, this is the application why we are studying these levels of organization in the biological world. So you must know the levels of organization. Then we'll see the origin of life. So there is a brief history of Earth, how the life has originated on the Earth. So you can watch this YouTube. It's a very good YouTube. So uh, we can in shortly say that previously there is a cosmic levels of evolution, and from that there comes the inorganic level of evolution. Later on the Earth, the organic evolution. And in organic evolution, we know that previously there is methane, then ammonia and hydrogen, and which later on combines to form water and energy on the earth, and it gives rise into the simple organic form, which includes the fatty acid and amino acid components, and later on it gives rise to complex organic formation of complex organic molecules, which includes the lipids and proteins. So we call this lipids and proteins as a co acervates. We call them as a co-acervates. Later on, it has been found that this lipid bilayer surrounds the protein, and we called it as a protocell. This protocell later on accumulate the genetic material like DNA or RNA by means of RNA-well hypothesis, and thus the first cell come into existence. So these are the further readings. You can read this. You can also refer your NCRT books